This is Granada, bringing you the best from the Northwest.
More than a pair of flapping lips, the Charlatans have confounded critics by having the sheer bloody nerve to still be around. The fact is, the five-piece are still having hits long after the baggy bandwagon has pulled out of town. Even when the chips were down, they could still cut it live and bang out inventive tough pop singles. These facts have often been overlooked by the pundits. Following a successful tour of Europe and a triumphant show at Trenton Gardens, the band are back in the studio recording new material. After a long trek through the countryside, we finally managed to track them down.
We've come here with a set amount of songs that we decided they were all complete, and we'd done all the writing before it, and now we're just going to put little finishing touches on it now. And so we're not going to be writing in the studio, we've written it all already. So we're happy and confident.
I think at the moment it sort of like sounds like the best stuff off the last album, but sort of like, you know, just sort of like a year later or 6 months later or whatever. I think we've sort of like learned how to mix properly, and we learned how to mix properly just on like one B side of I think if can't get out of bed, and I think that's what we're aiming for, like sort of smart mixes, you know, sort of just like sort of like making a record that no one else is going to make.
Is really upfront.
Yeah, I mean that's all we're listening to there.
Sometimes you can lose your original idea of what a song should be, and sort of like you got Steve and Dave, the engineer, who've heard what we were doing, the sort of like demo stuff that we'd done, the original ideas. And if they think that we're starting to lose the plot a bit, they'll, hang on lads, have a listen back to your demo.
You know, sort of a bit more about where we want to go rather than meeting somebody new. You know, I always like meeting new people. I think that sort of like causes a really sort of like, you know, good buzz at the start. But I think sort of like because the gap was a lot shorter, I think it was better to work with the same people in the same studio, with like the five of us. You know, just all doing sort of like, you know, they know where we've got to go, and we sort of like spoke to them. So you know, sort of big like passionate conversations and stuff. So we're getting through to somebody at last. So like someone's going to do it. It's going to be good, you know. What you just told me. Yeah. On the first two LPs, I really couldn't care who produced us at all. You know, it just doesn't matter. I don't feel as if we really need a producer anyway. I think we can, like, you know, do it, you know, piece of piss on our own, you know. But it just so happens that we met two people that sort of like, so, you know, we think can sort of like, you know, translate it a lot better than anyone else has done before. So it's good.
I think everything we've done's had a place in time. If you listen to everything in line, it does make sense. I don't think we've completely sort of like reinvented ourselves at any point. It feels perfectly right to me.
Don't let it stand there in the cold. Don't let it fall into a hole with someone you know. Don't let it out in the cold. Don't let it fall into a hole with someone you know. Can't get out of bed. You're keeping it straight. The city's a mess. Can't get out of bed. You're keeping it, keep our games together. It's everything you want it to be, or want it to be, or want it to be. Don't let it stand out in the cold. Don't let it fall into a hole with someone you know. Don't let it out in the cold. Don't let it fall into a hole with someone you know. Won't get off the phone. You're holding the rocks, filling it up. Won't get off the floor. You know that we're all going up to nowhere.
It's always a battle when there's sort of like 5 people and stuff who all, you know, and everyone thinks that they got like a lot to offer and stuff. You know, it's like big rocks. But I think now everyone just appreciates like a really sort of, you know, sort of like passionate sort of like a song or something that someone's written, and like Rob writes stuff, you know, Martin writes stuff, I write stuff, Mark writes stuff, and then, but some of Martin's stuff might sort of like fit into something that we haven't finished or whatever. So, but you know, if it matters, use it, I reckon.
I just want to keep on writing better songs. I think when I first joined, there wasn't as much sort of like emphasis on me writing songs, but as it's gone on over the years, I feel as though I've certainly got a lot more input and a lot more to do with the songs, and I enjoy that.
Most of the time you are happy, you're a widow. And before the introduction ends, is someone feeling sorry for themselves. Look at your ugly shade. What are you talking most of the time you're demanding. What am I doing here? And I don't wanna be. And the hurting which you bear, you can say goodbye to this earth. Look at your ugly shame. What are you talking for? Look at your ugly shame. There's too much for me to know about.
Got a bit hairy just after we'd finished touring the second album, because we were sort of like writing the third album, and we got a phone call saying don't come to rehearsals today because Rob's in prison. He's been arrested and he's been held. And we thought, oh dear. We thought that could have been the end of it, but it was. I suppose we were lucky that things take so long to come to trial in Britain. So we did have 9 months to write and record. So I mean, yeah, we've had hiccups, but it's always seemed to work out for us. I think if we were jinxed, things wouldn't have run quite as they have done. I think we've been tested a few times, but we've passed the test. We had a lot in common, not necessarily musically, but I just thought that riding the Charlatans, it made a lot of sense to me, and it made a lot of sense to a lot of other people. And I think if you're going to do just 2 gigs in a year, a Brighton and Blackpool day tripper thing, I don't think you can get much better than that.
I thought that it was probably going to be the last gigs that the Charlatans were going to do, because I thought Rob was going to go to prison for a long time. So it was definitely a good idea. You know, it's like ride a good bunch, you know, and the audience was brilliant. But I sort of like had a bit of a feeling that sort of like, you know, Rob was going to go to prison for like 5 years or something. But he never. So we got the chance to do Trenton Gardens, which sort of like outdid that one.
Who do you think you are, Tim Burgess? That's it. there.
And she shines like a genius.
I like our fans. Sometimes, yeah, I wish we did play more, but we will do. We don't want to let them down. And that's why we always try to do something brilliant. Make it special for them, you know. Like that Day Tripper thing was something a bit different. And like doing Trenton Gardens, that was a bit different. Doing 3 gigs, Manchester, Leicester, London, that was a bit different. We always keep ourselves excited, keep them excited.
Between like the Charlatans and then sort of like Oasis or something like that, I think there's been a big gap of being able to relate to a group on stage, you know, and before us other people or whatever, you know, but you know, the Roses or whatever, or the Happy Mondays or whatever. I still think that when we're on stage or when we're doing a video or something like that, people can relate to a group like us.
She drives over the wall. Kick out all those wheels and all. I want it, I just can't seem to get to it. TV coaches only a start. Overdose, it's a part of a good time.
I've been introduced to more music since being in the band, definitely. Yeah, I think me influences have been widened, and become more varied, which is a good thing.
My favourite group probably when the Charlatans sort of started. My favourite groups are probably like, you know, the Smiths and the Happy Mondays or something like that. And you know, now I listen to a lot of better records than that. I do get excited about music, and it's pretty boring talking to me these days because I just sort of like really just talk about music all the time. So I'd say that I'm probably sort of less sort of interesting to interview, but probably sort of like, you know, really sort of like the most interesting person to go out with at night, you know. At the end of the day, I think it's down to the songs and down to sort of like whether people believe it or not. Sometimes I think we've been pretty hard to believe. Sometimes I think it's been pretty easy to believe us. I really say what I think at the time, but I think that, you know, sometimes I'll say something that people just won't believe at all, but it is the truth. You know, I really got a lot of respect for this group, and you know, I really believe that we can and sometimes have done really brilliant things. I might play Bridlington, for instance.
People say that we sort of like limit ourselves in terms that we could be sort of like bigger than we are if we'd sort of like go to America and tour America for a year or 2 years. But I think we draw the line at that. We don't want to be sort of like touring for years and years to try and become big in America or worldwide, whatever. Because that's not what we're in it for. We're in it to release records. We're in it to put out albums, and we're not going to sacrifice that. We're not going to. I don't think we could go on the road for 2 years. We'd kill each other.
I think that you've got a time, haven't you? And I think, you know, I was saying to Mark, you know, we've got this time. So like between sort of like 1990 or 1989 and wherever, where you got to do as much as you want to do.
I think someone could write a brilliant book about us. I think we're in an important part of the 90s.
Leave us, I'm in heaven and I can't believe I'm watching you, and everything you've grown upon comes down to sin. Jesus, how do I mean we're all in America, and if everything you say is true, it's bad TV. You shine like a star. You shine like a genius. Fix our hands together when I slip another way comes right. Don't wanna cry, but what I need, oh, juicy words. Jesus, how do I mean we all live in America? It's hard to know reality when you don't have a life. You shine like a star. You shine like a genius. Sing your song whenever, can't you see? I bet you something I need. Get yourself together now, you're coming out of phase. And you shine like a star. And you shine like a star. And you shine like a star. And you shine like a genius.
On the menu next week, Carcass, K-Track and the Thrash Puppies. Don't miss it.